Hi guys, so the quadratic formula is something that's used to help us solve quadratic equations. So first thing I want you to see is that it's on the in your log tables there on page 20. So you see 20 or page 20 at the bottom there. And it's the top one, it's this big formula here. So it's x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And they're the roots of the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we're just going to have a look at it in more detail then. So when ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, solutions can be found using x equals, and again the formula, minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. This formula can be used to solve quadratic equations. It is especially useful when the solutions are not whole numbers. So it looks like it's definitely one of the more awkward looking formulas in maths, but it's not too bad as long as we just be careful and we put in the information properly. So first of all, what I want you to see anyway, so our example here is 2x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. Now if you've done factorizing quadratic equations before, then you know that what you can do here is you can just find two numbers that will multiply. Well, you'd have to so they'd have to multiply to give minus 8, so, and then sum to give minus 2. So what you'll find here is that it's hard to find two numbers that will work, and it might be actually impossible. I'm not sure if it's impossible for this one or not, but for some quadratic equation it'll be impossible to actually find numbers to factorize. So that's where this formula comes in useful. So if you take the general equation, it's ax squared plus bx plus c. The a is always the thing in front of the x squared, therefore in this case that makes the 2 the a. The b is always the thing that comes in front of the x, so in this case then b is minus 2, and that minus in front is important as well, so b is minus 2. And then the c part at the end is going to be the minus 8 here, so c is minus 8. So a is 2, b is minus 2, and c is minus 8. So I'm going to write down the formula: minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then it's just a matter of putting in the information really carefully. So the first part I'm going to do minus b, so you have to do minus whatever b is. Now look at this in this one, b is actually a minus 2. So you have to do minus what b is, so it's minus minus 2. So just be careful there. So, and then plus or minus, we'll come to that plus or minus thing in a minute as well. You might not have seen that before. B squared, so b is minus 2 to be squared, minus 4 times a, so whatever a is 2, times c is minus 8. And that's all over 2 times a, so 2 times 2. So you can start to simplify a little bit then. So the minus minus 2, that'll just be a plus 2, so because minus minus makes plus. And then minus 2 squared would be 4, and then if you multiply minus 4 by 2 by minus 8, you should get 64 all over 4. So that's going to simplify down into 2 plus or minus the square root of 68 all over 4. At this point then is when I can't really go on simplify much further from what I know already, so I have to look at what this plus minus thing means. So you might not have seen this before. Basically it means that it could be plus or it could be minus, so we're going to get two options. So we're going to split it now. We're going to split it into 2 plus root 68 over 4 and 2 minus root 68 over 4. So 2 minus square root of 68 over 4 and 2 plus square root of 68 over 4. And that's when you can just put all that into your calculators. That's the easiest thing when you've got square root there of something that's not a square number. So if you press the fraction button and press 2 and minus and square root 68 and then go down to the bottom and put in a 4, so you should get minus 1.56, and that's rounding it off to 2 decimal places. And then if you go over to the other side and you do the same thing but you put in a plus this time, you should get 2.56, and that's rounded off to 2 decimal places as well. So those would be the two roots then of this equation. So the same way as you would have factorized before to find out two solutions to the equation. Here we use the minus b formula, and our two solutions are minus 1.56 and 2.56, and they're rounded off as well. So really we're getting big long decimals as our two roots, as our two answers. So here's another one then. Now if you want to attempt this in a second you can, but I just want to point out first of all, actually the way this question is set up, everything isn't equal to 0 at the start here, so you actually need to manipulate this around. So I'll just do that for you. So we're going to get 2x squared minus 9x equals 40, and then I can go ahead and further subtract 40, and now I get 2x squared minus 9x minus 40 equals 0. Now it looks like, well, now it's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, so you can go ahead and you can find solutions. So if you want to pause the video there now and try this one, so just label what a is, what b is, and what c is, and then just put them into the formula really carefully. So I'm going to write down the formula. Well, actually first I'm going to write down what a is and b is and c is. So a has to be the 2 here, b has to be the minus 9, that's in front of the x, and c will be the minus 40. So my formula is minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Then I can start just putting them in again. Now I have to do minus b here, so b is minus 9, so it's minus minus 9, plus or minus the square root of b squared will be minus 9 squared, plus 4 is just 4, a is 2, and c is minus 40. And that's all over 2 times 2. So minus minus 9 just makes plus 9, plus or minus square root of 9 squared is 81, and then you're going to have 8 times 4, so that'll be 4 multiplied by 2 multiplied by that should be a minus in there actually. So yeah, so it's going to be 4 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 40, so we get 320, and then because the minus is being times by another minus, we get plus 320 all over 4, and then we're just going to add 81 and 320, so we're getting 401. Now again, I'm going to split it up into two possible solutions then, so it's either 9 minus square root of 401 over 4, or 9 plus square root of 401 over 4. So that's what that plus minus thing means. Then I can just put in both things into the calculator again. So if I press fraction button, 9 minus square root of 401 all over 4. I'm getting minus 2.76 this time when it's rounded off. For my minus one, and then if you go back and you put in a plus instead, we're getting 7.26. And that's when it's rounded off as well. So those are my two solutions then.